Are you tired of feeling held back by other people's opinions? Do you find yourself constantly worrying about what others think of you and adjusting your behavior to fit in or please them? If so, you're not alone. Many of us struggle with the fear of judgment and the desire for external validation. But what if there was a way to break free from this cycle and live your life with greater confidence and authenticity? In this video, we'll explore 7 powerful strategies for stopping caring about what others think of you, inspired by the teachings of legendary swordsman and philosopher Miyamoto Musashi. So if you're ready to take control of your life and unleash your true potential, keep watching. Lesson 1. Focus on what you control. One of the most important lessons we can learn from Musashi is the importance of focusing on what we can control. In his famous book, The Book of 5 Rings, Musashi wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." This quote reminds us that there are many ways to achieve our goals, and that we should focus on the things that we have the power to change. When we focus on what we can control, we are taking responsibility for our own lives. We are acknowledging that our thoughts, feelings, and actions are within our power, and that we have the ability to create the life we want. This mindset is empowering, and it can help us overcome the fear of other people's opinions. When we have a clear idea of what we want to achieve, it's easier to focus on the things that will help us get there. Take some time to think about what you want to accomplish, and then create a plan of action. Break your goals down into smaller, more manageable steps, and focus on taking one step at a time. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work and dedication. When we have a growth mindset, we are more likely to focus on learning and improving, rather than worrying about what others think. Embrace challenges, learn from your mistakes, and view setbacks as opportunities for growth. Perfectionism is the belief that anything less than perfect is unacceptable. This mindset can lead to a fear of failure and a fear of other people's opinions. Remember that nobody is perfect and that it's okay to make mistakes. Focus on progress, not perfection, and celebrate your small wins along the way. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment, without judgment. When we are mindful, we are more aware of our thoughts and feelings, and we are better able to regulate our emotions. Practice mindfulness meditation, or simply take a few minutes each day to focus on your breath and be present in the moment. By focusing on what we can control, we are taking charge of our own lives and creating a sense of empowerment. We are acknowledging that our thoughts, feelings, and actions are within our power, and that we have the ability to create the life we want. This mindset is essential for overcoming the fear of other people's opinions and living a life of authenticity and confidence. Lesson 2. Show gratitude for yourself. Practicing gratitude for yourself means acknowledging and appreciating your own strengths, accomplishments, and positive qualities. It's easy to focus on our flaws and shortcomings, but it's important to recognize and celebrate our successes and positive attributes as well. When we show gratitude for ourselves, we build a strong foundation of self-worth and confidence that can help us weather the ups and downs of life. One way to show gratitude for yourself is to keep a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. These can be things like your creativity, your sense of humor, your work ethic, or anything else that you appreciate about yourself. By focusing on the positive aspects of yourself, you'll shift your mindset away from negative self-talk and towards a more positive and empowering perspective. Another way to show gratitude for yourself is to practice self-care. This means taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Make time for activities that nourish your body and soul, such as exercise, meditation, hobbies, or spending time in nature. When you prioritize self-care, you're sending a message to yourself that you matter and that your well-being is important. When you achieve a goal or do something you're proud of, take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate your success. This can be as simple as treating yourself to a favorite meal or sharing your accomplishment with a friend or loved one. By celebrating your successes, you'll build a sense of self-efficacy and confidence that can help you overcome challenges and pursue your goals. We all make mistakes and experience setbacks, but it's important to forgive ourselves and move forward. When you make a mistake, try to view it as an opportunity for growth and learning, rather than as a failure or reflection of your worth. Remember that everyone makes mistakes and that it's okay to be imperfect. By practicing self-forgiveness, you'll be able to let go of past regrets and move forward with a positive and empowered mindset. Lesson 3. Surround yourself with supportive people. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is crucial for your mental and emotional well-being. When you're around people who encourage and uplift you, you'll naturally feel more confident and secure. On the other hand, if you're constantly around people who criticize or belittle you, you'll start to doubt yourself and feel anxious about their opinions. One way to surround yourself with supportive people is to be intentional about your relationships. Take a close look at the people in your life and evaluate whether they're positive or negative influences. Are they supportive of your goals and dreams, or do they constantly tear them down? Do they listen to you and offer helpful advice, or do they only talk about themselves and their own problems? If you find that there are people in your life who are consistently negative or unsupportive, it may be time to distance yourself from them. This doesn't necessarily mean you have to cut them out of your life completely, but you should limit your interactions with them and avoid confiding in them about your thoughts and feelings. On the other hand, if you find that there are people in your life who are consistently positive and supportive, make an effort to spend more time with them. Seek out opportunities to connect with them, whether it's through shared hobbies, social events, or one-on-one conversations. Another way to surround yourself with supportive people is to join groups or communities that align with your values and interests. This could be anything from a sports team to a book club to a volunteer organization. When you're part of a group that shares your passions and beliefs, you'll naturally feel more accepted and understood. Don't be afraid to seek out professional help if you're struggling with anxiety or self-doubt. Therapists and counselors are trained to help you work through your thoughts and feelings and develop coping strategies. They can also provide a safe and non-judgmental space for you to express yourself and work towards healing. Remember, surrounding yourself with supportive people is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. It's important to regularly evaluate your relationships and make adjustments as needed. It's also important to be a supportive person to others. When you offer encouragement and kindness to those around you, you'll not only help them feel more confident and secure, but you'll also attract more positive and supportive people into your own life. In the words of Miyamoto Musashi, associate with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for 'tis better to be alone than in bad company. By surrounding yourself with supportive and uplifting people, you'll not only improve your own reputation, but also your mental and emotional well-being. Lesson 4. Challenge negative thoughts. Challenging negative thoughts is a crucial step towards stopping the cycle of caring too much about what others think. When we're caught up in negative self-talk, it can be easy to believe that our thoughts are an accurate reflection of reality. However, the truth is that our thoughts are often biased, distorted, and unhelpful. Musashi believed that a warrior should cultivate a clear and focused mind, free from the distractions of negative thoughts and emotions. To challenge negative thoughts, we must first become aware of them. This means paying attention to our inner dialogue and identifying the thoughts that are causing us distress. Once we've identified a negative thought, we can challenge it by asking ourselves a series of questions. For example, is this thought based on fact, or is it just an assumption? What evidence do I have that supports this thought? What evidence do I have that contradicts this thought? Is there a more balanced or realistic way of looking at the situation? Would I talk to a friend this way, or am I being overly critical of myself? By asking ourselves these questions, we can begin to see our negative thoughts for what they are, distortions of reality that are causing us unnecessary distress. We can then replace these negative thoughts with more balanced and realistic ones. For example, if you're worrying about what others think of your appearance, You might challenge this thought by asking yourself if there's any evidence to support it. You might realize that most people are too focused on their own appearance to be overly concerned with yours. You might also remind yourself of all the things you like about your appearance and the positive feedback you've received from others. Challenging negative thoughts takes practice, but it's a skill that can be developed over time. With patience and persistence, you can learn to identify and challenge negative thoughts as soon as they arise, preventing them from taking hold and causing distress. It's also important to remember that challenging negative thoughts doesn't mean ignoring or denying our emotions. It's natural to feel upset or anxious in certain situations, and it's important to acknowledge and validate these feelings. However, by challenging the thoughts that are contributing to our distress, we can prevent our emotions from becoming overwhelming and unmanageable. In addition to challenging negative thoughts, it can be helpful to practice mindfulness and meditation. These practices can help us cultivate a more present and focused mind, reducing the impact of negative thoughts and emotions. Musashi himself was a proponent of meditation, believing that it helped him maintain a clear and focused mind in battle. Lesson 5. Practice self-compassion. Practicing self-compassion is an essential step towards stopping the habit of caring too much about what others think. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and forgiveness, just as we would treat a dear friend. When we practice self-compassion, we acknowledge our flaws and mistakes without harshly judging ourselves or letting negative self-talk take over. Pay attention to your inner dialogue and notice when you're being overly critical or harsh. Make a conscious effort to replace negative self-talk with kind, supportive words. Speak to yourself as you would to a close friend who's going through a tough time. Recognize that everyone makes mistakes and has flaws. It's part of being human. Instead of beating yourself up over your imperfections, accept them with kindness and a sense of humor. Remember that your worth is not defined by your mistakes or shortcomings. Holding on to guilt or shame over past mistakes can prevent us from moving forward and growing. Practice forgiving yourself by acknowledging what you did wrong, taking responsibility for it, and making amends if possible. Then let go of the past and focus on the present moment. Self-compassion also involves taking care of our physical and emotional well-being. Make sure you're getting enough rest, exercise, and nourishment. Engage in activities that bring you joy and relaxation. Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist if you need it. By practicing self-compassion, we can build resilience against negative opinions and develop a more positive self-image. When we treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, we're less likely to seek validation from others or let their opinions affect our sense of worth. Self-compassion also helps us to learn from our mistakes and grow, rather than getting stuck in a cycle of self-criticism and negativity. Miyamoto Musashi believed that a warrior should cultivate a strong spirit, which includes treating oneself with compassion and respect. He wrote, "You should not have a favorite sword or a favorite strategy. You should not have a favorite anything. You should not let your spirit be influenced by your likes and dislikes, by your emotions or your moods. You should be detached from all things, including yourself." This detachment, however, does not mean neglecting or mistreating oneself. Rather, it means cultivating a balanced perspective and treating oneself with the same compassion and respect that one would treat others. Lesson 6. Take a perspective shift. Taking a perspective shift is a powerful way to stop caring about what others think of you. It involves stepping back from the situation and looking at it from a different angle. This can help you gain a broader understanding of the situation and see things in a more objective light. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. When you're able to see things from someone else's perspective, you're less likely to take their opinions personally. For example, if someone criticizes your work, try to understand where they're coming from. Maybe they have a different perspective or experience that you can learn from. Or maybe they're having a bad day and their criticism has nothing to do with you. Another way to take a perspective shift is to focus on the present moment. Often, we worry about what others think of us because we're concerned about the future. We think that their opinions will determine our success or happiness. But the truth is, the present moment is all we have. When you focus on the present moment, you're able to let go of worries about the future and enjoy the present. For example, if you're nervous about giving a presentation, focus on the present moment. Take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground, and remind yourself that you're prepared and capable. A third way to take a perspective shift is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to be fully present and aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. When you're able to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, you're less likely to be controlled by them. For example, if you find yourself worrying about what others think of you, practice mindfulness. Take a few deep breaths, observe your thoughts and feelings, and then let them go. Musashi's teachings can also help us take a perspective shift. Musashi believed that a warrior should cultivate a broad perspective, rather than getting stuck in narrow-minded thinking. He wrote, "The warrior's way is twofold: to cultivate a broad perspective and to practice discipline." Cultivating a broad perspective involves being open-minded, curious, and willing to learn from others. It also involves being aware of our own biases and assumptions, and challenging them when necessary. Practicing discipline, on the other hand, involves being focused, determined, and committed to our goals. It also involves being willing to take risks and face our fears. When we're able to balance a broad perspective with discipline, we're able to take a perspective shift and see things in a new light. For example, if we're facing a difficult challenge, we can take a perspective shift by being open-minded and curious about the situation. We can also practice discipline by being focused and determined in our efforts to overcome the challenge. Lesson 7. Remember, most people are focused on themselves. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that everyone is constantly judging us, but the truth is that most people are too busy worrying about their own lives to spend much time thinking about us. This is not to say that we should be selfish or disregard the feelings of others, but rather that we should recognize that other people's opinions often have more to do with their own insecurities and biases than with our actual worth or abilities. When we remember that most people are focused on themselves, we can start to let go of the need for external validation. We can recognize that our self-worth does not depend on what others think of us, but rather on our own values and actions. This can be a liberating realization, as it allows us to focus on what truly matters to us, rather than trying to meet the expectations of others. When we recognize that most people are focused on themselves, we can also become more empathetic and compassionate towards others. We can realize that the person who seemed to be judging us may be dealing with their own insecurities or struggles, and that their behavior may have more to do with their own issues than with us. By cultivating empathy and compassion, we can build stronger connections with others and create a more supportive and positive community. When we're not constantly worried about what others think, we're more likely to take chances and try new things, even if they don't always work out. This can lead to greater personal growth and fulfillment, as we're able to explore our passions and interests without fear of judgment or failure. Of course, it's important to strike a balance between being true to ourselves and being considerate of others. We should still strive to be kind, respectful, and empathetic towards others, even as we prioritize our own values and goals. But by remembering that most people are focused on themselves, we can let go of the need for external validation and cultivate a greater sense of self-confidence and inner peace. In the words of Miyamoto Musashi, "Do not let the opinion of others become your reality." When we remember that most people are focused on themselves, we can break free from the shackles of other people's opinions and live our lives with greater authenticity, confidence, and purpose. So let us strive to cultivate this mindset in our daily lives and encourage others to do the same. Together, we can create a world where everyone is free to be their true selves, without fear of judgment or criticism.